All right. The effects of latitude. If you look at this graph, there's some lines, by the way, we're looking at months on the bottom. So you see January, so on, all the way through the year. And then on the axis going up, y-axis off to the right, where it's graphed here, you see temperatures. So warmer is higher up. The clear pattern, if you just take the two extremes, look at Barrow, Alaska on the bottom. That's obviously a place very far north. That's a high latitude, Arctic, north of the Arctic Circle by 3.5 degrees. Oh, actually, it's 4.5 degrees. I had to think about that for a minute. And the other extreme is the one in Brazil at the very top, where there's very little seasonal variation. Two things: you don't see much seasonal variation in the Brazil one, but more importantly, it's just much warmer. So kind of an intermediate one is New Orleans, the second one from the top. What place has more extreme high temperatures? New Orleans or by Brazil, closer to the equator? Amazingly, it's New Orleans. That is one hot, muggy, miserable place if you're there in the summer. It has a much higher average temperature than Bahia does. So then the middle latitudes, well, New Orleans barely makes it into middle latitudes. That's kind of right on the line there between what we call subtropical. But the main proponent of or example of middle latitudes is Montreal, the one down almost to the bottom, 45 degrees north. They have the same latitude we do, but look at that climate. Is that blue temperature line there typical of our climate at the same latitude, but on the other side of the country or the continent? You look at that and you go, wintertime, average temperature, January, February, 20, under 20 degrees. Do we have average temperatures of 20 or so or less in the winter? Heck no. So it's much more extreme. And that's always true of places that are on the east side of continents. They get the cold air that comes off the continents more than the west side does. We get mostly marine influence, so the influence of winds here, going back to those global temperature controls, makes our climate much more moderate than Montreal's in the winter, much milder. Summer, it's pretty hot there in Montreal and a little warmer than Salem, maybe 72, 73 degrees average temperature in the summer. Our average temperature in the summer are closer to I think we're about 69 in July. So pretty close there, but the real difference is the wintertime.